Henry Ford did not invent the automobile. What he changed was something far bigger. He made the car affordable, repeatable, and mass-produced for ordinary people. Before Ford, cars were luxury machines for the wealthy. After Ford, they became part of daily life. That is the real reason his business scaled into an industrial giant. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863, on a farm in Michigan. He was expected to stay in farm life, but he hated the slow, exhausting work of farming. Even as a boy, he was drawn to watches, steam engines, and anything mechanical. That curiosity became his first advantage. He was not born into the right world for industry, so he tried to build his own. At 16, Ford left home and moved to Detroit to become an apprentice machinist. That move changed his life because Detroit was growing into an industrial center full of factories, engines, and opportunity. He did not learn from books alone. He learned by being around machines every day. Ford's story shows a simple lesson. Talent grows faster in the right environment. While working for the Edison Illuminating Company, Ford kept studying gas engines. He saw that gas engines were lighter, faster to start, and more practical than steam engines for small vehicles. In 1896, he built his first self-propelled vehicle, the quadricycle. It was not elegant, it had bicycle wheels, no reverse gear, and weak performance. But it worked. That first machine proved he could turn an idea into motion. Ford did not succeed on his first business try. His Detroit Automobile Company, founded in 1899, failed because the vehicles were too expensive and unreliable. His second company also failed when investors wanted luxury racing cars, while Ford wanted a mass-market vehicle. After he left, that company became Cadillac. These failures mattered because they taught him that a great idea is not enough if the product is too slow, too costly, or aimed at the wrong market. In 1903, Ford finally founded the Ford Motor Company with just $28,000 in capital. That was the turning point. But his rise was not only about building cars, it was also about fighting the rules of the industry itself. George Selden held a broad patent for a road engine, and together with the ALAM cartel, he demanded a $15 royalty on every car built in America. Ford was rejected for a license, so he fought back in court, arguing that no one should own the idea of an automobile. After an 8-year battle, a 1911 appellate court ruled in Ford's favor and freed the U.S. auto industry from those licensing fees. Then came Ford's greatest product breakthrough, the Model T. Launched on October 1st, 1908, it was designed to be the universal car, simple, reliable, and affordable. It had the first left-side steering wheel, a 4-cylinder engine cast in a single block, and high-strength vanadium steel. The Model T was not built to impress the rich. It was built to serve the masses. Its price dropped from $825 in 1909 to just $260 by 1925. And by the time production ended in 1927, more than 15 million Model Ts had been made. That is not just success, that is scale at national level. Ford's most powerful breakthrough came on December 1st, 1913, when he introduced the moving assembly line at the Highland Park plant. Before this, building a single car required skilled workers assembling parts in one place, which was slow, inconsistent, and expensive. Ford studied meatpacking plants in Chicago, where animals moved along a line while workers performed one small task repeatedly. He reversed that idea. Instead of workers moving around the car moved past workers. Each worker performed a single, simple task again and again. This reduced errors, increased speed, and removed the need for highly skilled labor at every step. The result was dramatic. Assembly time dropped from 12.5 hours to just 93 minutes. This was not just an improvement in production, it was a complete redesign of how work was organized. It turned manufacturing into a predictable, scalable system that could produce thousands of identical products quickly and cheaply. That was the real scaling secret. Ford stopped depending on one worker trying to build a whole car and replaced that with a repeatable system. One station handled one step. One line moved one direction. One process produced thousands of identical cars. The business became faster, cheaper, and easier to expand because the system itself did the heavy lifting. Yet even that breakthrough created a new crisis. In 1913, workers hated the monotony of the line so much that turnover reached 380%. Ford had to hire 52,000 men to maintain a staff of 14,000. To stabilize the workforce, he introduced the famous $5 day on January 5, 1914, more than doubling the industry standard wage. But it was not pure generosity. It also acted like a profit-sharing bonus tied to the standards of Ford's sociological department, which inspected homes for sobriety and domestic harmony. Ford wanted loyal workers, stable homes, and a more reliable factory. In 1926, he went further and pioneered the 5-day, 40-hour workweek. He believed that well-paid workers with more leisure time would also become customers. That idea mattered because Ford understood a truth many businesses ignore. Sometimes the people who make your product are also the people who buy it. If their lives improve, your market can grow with them. Ford also pushed vertical integration to a huge scale. The River Rouge complex was a 2,000-acre site where raw materials entered at one end and finished cars rolled out the other. Ford owned iron mines, coal fields, rubber plantations, a fleet of cargo ships, and an internal railroad. At its peak, the complex employed 100,000 people, produced 500 tons of glass daily, and finished a new car every 49 seconds. Ford learned from his early failures that outside suppliers could slow everything down, so he tried to control as much of production as possible. For a time, that system made Ford dominant, but success can create blind spots. Ford famously said customers could have any color as long as it was black, because black paint dried faster on the assembly line. That was efficient, but it also showed how rigid the company had become. In the 1920s, Alfred Sloan and General Motors won customers by offering a car for every purpose, annual style changes, and credit financing through GMAC. Ford's market share fell from 60% in 1921 to 15% by 1927. When Ford finally replaced the Model T with the Model A in 1927, the shutdown cost the company $100 million in 18 months of production. Ford's life was also controversial. He promoted anti-Semitic conspiracy theories through the Dearborn Independent and the book The International Jew, which influenced Adolf Hitler. That part of his legacy cannot be ignored. At the same time, during World War II, Ford's Willow Run plant produced one B-24 bomber every 63 minutes, showing how deeply his industrial methods had reshaped wartime production as well. He died on April 7, 1947, at the age of 83, after ceding control of the company to his grandson, Henry Ford II. By then, his legacy was already fixed in history. He had made cars cheaper, faster to build, and available to millions. But he also showed how a business can rise, dominate, and then lose ground when it stops adapting. Henry Ford's real genius was not just building a car. It was building a system that turned a luxury product into an everyday necessity. He proved that the biggest businesses are not always built by inventing something new. Sometimes they are built by making something useful, simple, reliable, affordable, and available to the masses. If this story gave you a new way to think about business and history, subscribe, like the video, and comment below. What was Ford's greatest secret? The Model T, the assembly line, or his obsession with cost?